So everything's been planted, everything's been weeded, everything's been watered, everything's been harvested. Now it's time for us to check the side-by-side comparisons between our no-dig beds and our dig beds for the first year.
I think the difference was with the no-dig bed, it was super easy because the compost was really fluffy and loose. Whereas with the tilled bed side, I had to use my big sharp shovel or hand tool to be able to dig the hole out into the soil to be able to put the plants in. Basically, I haven't had to do any weeding for the no-dig bed, so that has been super nice. Whereas the control bed that was where it was tilled, that had to be weeded every week. On the no-dig side, we had to do emergency watering because the compost was so dry that it got hydrophobic, and so we had to do a little bit of soaking. But then as the season progressed, you can see already that the no-dig side is holding a lot more moisture, so it's not needing nearly the same amount of watering as the control bed did when we had the drought. The plants coming out of the tilled side were much larger in bulk with the leaves and the stems, but later on in the season, I think the plants in the no-dig side were actually starting to come on later in the season. Comparatively, I think the no-dig side did not do as well as in terms of the production, but over time I can see that shifting and changing, and in terms of the reducing the amount of labor and the resources in terms of having to water as it holds so much more moisture in. So initially, I think will be the delay, but I can see that already happening towards the end of the season where it can be matching the production.
You know, we found it incredibly easy to plant in the no-dig. You could almost make a hole with your hand, as opposed to the dig side. It took a little bit to maybe get it in at the right depth. On the dig sides, we had a lot of weed pressure, and you know, we fell behind at times. The no-dig side was incredibly easy. A lot of the times, you know, it was so minimal, we just really pulled them out by hand. We had some periods of drought, and we had a battery fail, and so we had a period where we did not have irrigation. On the no-dig site, man, it was 70% greater, some nice wholesome fruit, less pest damage, and the yield was tremendous. On the dig side, it was very obvious they were underperforming. We saw more pest damage and just not growing as fast as the no-dig sites, and the yields were very low. I'm definitely a fan now of the no-dig and using that organic material. So we're starting to adopt that in our farm practices already. But overall, the no-dig has got my vote.
Planting for the no-dig, definitely a little easier getting the potatoes in, a little easier on the hands getting the peppers in. The till side, definitely a little more chunky. Took a little more energy to get the potatoes down there, and a little rougher on the hands. The no-dig side had 0 weeds for pretty much the whole season. There might have been 1 or 2 that blew in and, you know, took all of 10 seconds to take out. For the till side, that was a weekly chore that you had to stay on top of. It wasn't too bad as far as how long it took, but it did have to happen every week to keep those weeds out of there. At the beginning of the season, the no-dig beds were very dry and hydrophobic, so they needed a lot of extra water because it was not holding it at all, whereas the till side didn't need as much water. As the season went on, they kind of evened out, and the compost in the no-dig side did start to hold water. So this season, the no-dig side did take more water, but I think going into next season, it might take less. The till side was about double compared to the no-dig side. I think that had a lot to do with how the no-dig side was hydrophobic early in the season, so those plants struggled a lot to get their initial roots down. Going into next season, I think we might see them even out, where the no-dig kind of take the lead. Both ways work. I definitely like the no dig better as far as like no weeds, you're not getting muddy when you're working with it, easier to plant. Yeah.
We've got our initial data reports back on our soil health studies for all 3 trial sites, and we're seeing some interesting data. We're seeing that we have really big improvements in the soil health in the no-dig sites as compared to the conventional tillage, but as we suspected, we don't see the yields yet, and so we'll be curious to see what happens over time as the no-dig beds sort of settle in, and then compare them to how conventional tillage does over time.
The purpose of these trials was to see how the no-dig beds compared to the dig beds. And what we saw in year 1 was that the no-dig beds tended to be easier to work with, although on balance, the dig beds outproduced in terms of the yield. However, by the end of the year, we've already been starting to see the no-dig beds showing a greater improvement in soil health, as well as starting to catch up in production. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in year 2.